Crypto Show. Wow, shout out to every single one of you for being here with me on your Saturday night. Everybody else out there in the club, and we're in here diving on into the charts, trying to find the hottest setups of this week. Shout out to each and every one of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for diving on into the chat. April, what's going on? I'm glad you're here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. My name's Matt. This is Boys Crypto. Let's dive on in, starting with the bubbles, baby. Oh my gosh, this bearishness in this space is absolutely crazy. Is it crazy or is it justified? We have some major tariffs coming in next week on April 2nd that are looking to absolutely rock the market. And to be frank with everyone, no one knows what they are. No one knows whether countries are going to negotiate with the United States or not, or whether we're going to get retaliatory tariffs or anything of that nature. There's a lot on the hush hush, if you will. A lot on the hush hush, everybody. A lot on the hush hush. So we'll see how that develops over the course of the next few days. I would like to hear something from the president on Truth Social or on X to dive on in and get a better understanding of what actually is to come this week. But what we do know this week, besides April 2nd coming this week, we have this major event here. We have the U.S. employment rate, initial jobless claims, and the big one, baby, the big one at 11:25 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday. On Friday, baby, we are going to get Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaking about inflation and what that's going to do in regards to the inflationary environment and how much money printing is going to be expected here in this country moving on into the rest of 2025. So that's what we've got coming up, everybody. Let's take a quick look at bubbles. A sea of red, an absolute sea of red. In the last hour or so, we've been getting a little bit of a bounce-a-rooney. A bounce-a-rooney. Was that it? Was that it? It could have been. It definitely could have been. Let's zoom on out here. We are making a higher low on the macro. Higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low on the macro. Is a higher high to come? It definitely could. We did hold this area around $81,654, and Bitcoin does seem to be stealing the show here, as I'll bet you Bitcoin dominance is mooning to the sky, highly likely, as the altcoins have been getting decimated, baby, decimated. The Bitcoin dominance higher. This was the highest daily candle close or the second highest daily candle close that Bitcoin dominance has had in the past almost 2 years, right? Since March of 2021, so over 4 years ago, this was the highest candle for Bitcoin dominance. An absolute crazy rocket shot to the upside for Bitcoin dominance. I still do maintain my thesis, though, everyone. I maintain the thesis that we have this swing down on Bitcoin dominance. That bearish divergence on the weekly is rearing its ugly head, and whenever you stare bearish divergence on the weekly that is that strong, it is very likely that we're either going to come down and crack this low here before we crack this high, or if this weekly bearish divergence gets defied and we break this, defying weekly bearish divergence is no joke, We will likely come up here and test the highs for Bitcoin dominance. We break that, we could be going on a Bitcoin super cycle, and the alts will rest in peace, baby. The alts will rest in peace as Bitcoin dominance rockets up towards that 80% level, baby. That 80% level. Thank you for everybody for diving on in. Thank you for being here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. For those of you who just joined us, for those of you who have just joined us for Bitcoin dominance, the inverted cup and handle coming to the 618-786. We go over this every single day on the channel. Real quick, we don't want to beat a dead horse, but this is the area where I would expect, if we're going to get that alt season, this is the likely area where it is going to begin out of this weekly bearish divergence coming up to the 618-786 golden pocket retracement of the inverted cup and handle with the gap and the VRVP beneath here to validate that. So it looks very, very good for Bitcoin dominance for a rollover despite the bullishness we're seeing in this space. Now, what I am thinking is whenever we get these tariffs resolved, whenever this uncertainty gets fixed here in the market, if that is to happen, right, the speculation will come back into the space and the altcoins will be able to go on their monumental rally. It coincides very, very well with, over the next few weeks, struggling up here for Bitcoin dominance, but eventually topping out. This is the area where it's likely to happen, everybody. This is what mathematical probabilities, the 618-786 retrace bearishly or bullishly, regardless of how you draw it, is a likely area for a price to at least have some sort of reaction, and we have not had that here out of the golden pocket. That's what I am looking at here for Bitcoin here on Bitcoin dominance here on the weekly. Back over here to Bitcoin getting this bounce on the hourly today. Coming back over here from the bottom, we are up about 2% from the bottom here. It does seem like kind of a lackluster bounce. We have a massive amount of resistance above us. Let's zoom on out here and update this VRVP, the area to reclaim, the point of control right here at about, right here at about 84,000. That's about $1,000 above where we are right now. We get it back above here and flip this into support. It will flip the masses into a bullish buying frenzy. Why? Because we will have reclaimed that value area, this value area here, the value area where the highest volume node is. That represents the area where the most amount of Bitcoin has traded in this range. This high volume node sitting at about $84,167, baby. Boom, to the upside for Bitcoin. We can create that as we made higher, lower low, or higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. This may have been your first lower low, so we do have to pull our fibs right here. We have to pull our fibs from swing high to swing low, and even if we reclaim this value area, this is also another likely area of resistance up here at the 618786 bearish retracement. If we did switch up market structure from a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low to a lower high, lower low, the first lower high is likely to come up in here somewhere between 85.5 86 and 87.2. That's what I'm looking at here for Bitcoin for a market structure shift. So we have resistance here. We have resistance here at about 84,000. We get above that, we reclaim this high volume node, and we're likely to come up into that golden pocket and get some sort of rejection here, given that we have made our first higher low. Now, if you don't count this, if you do not count this, this is another higher low in the set. You can see that here on the 4 hour. This does look like another higher low. Higher low, higher high. Yeah, to me that's a lower low. That's a lower low on from a market structure perspective. And we did have this trend. We did have this trend coming to the upside. We did break down out of this channel to the downside. So it's imperative that Bitcoin does get up and at least reclaim this high volume node and come up, test this pattern, get back in the pattern, and then we could go and test the highs. That would be an amazing fake out for BTC. An amazing fake out for BTC, baby. Let's pull our fib from low to high where we're sitting here. We did almost come down to that 618. Not there yet, not quite there yet. And this brings me to the daily. This is on the micro where we're standing right now. Nice to see a little bit of a bounce. Shout out to everybody in the chat here. We got reviews, Wanda, April, JJ, all the way from the UK. What's up, brother? I'm glad that you're here. Lily, thank you for jumping on in. I appreciate each and every single one of you. All right, diving on into the daily. The daily looks bad. The daily looks bad. Why do I say the daily looks bad? Well, we continually get bearish retraces up to the 618 here. Up to the 618.786 golden pocket retracing to the downside. We did right here from swing high to swing low. Swing high to swing low, we got that bearish retrace to the 786. Up here from swing high to swing low, bearish retrace to the 786. This 618.786 area has served as a key resistance point for BTC for the past month or so, everybody, for the past month or so. Now, can we get the bounce here? Absolutely we can. We can definitely get a bounce here, but we have major resistances above us, and that brings us into the micro time frames. Bitcoin needs to start playing with those daily 200 or those 200 SMAs on the smaller time frames. Where's my 200 here? Oh my gosh, my settings are all messed up. Whoop, 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 whoop. Get that out of here. Get that out of here. All right, here we go. We broke above the 1 minute 200 SMA, and that means we're likely to come to the 3. We broke above the 3. Look at this. We're getting that little bit of a push to the upside, baby. To the upside. We broke above the 5 to the upside. Now we're likely to test the 7. Oh, we're above the 7. Where are we likely to go? The 15-minute 200 MA that's sitting here at about $84,000 for at least a test of $84,000. We have not been above the 15-minute 200 MA since we were sitting above $87,000 just a few days ago. So if we reclaim this 15-minute 200 MA, the likelihood of us pushing further to the upside is relatively high. Continue to pull your fibs, everybody. Even though we break that 15-minute 200 MA, that does coincide with a rejection here. If we did come up and test the 200 MA, this is resistance until it's not, right? This is resistance until it is not. And this 618.786 bearish Fibonacci retracement from the prior swing high to the swing low does show us that we're we're likely to run into some resistance here. The 15-minute 200 MA, the bearish 618-786 golden pocket retracement, and this has been respected the entire way down. So we do have to keep that on our radar. With that being said, if we could somehow, if Bitcoin could somehow, baby, squeeze above this 15-minute 200 MA, the 15-minute 200 MA, baby, it looks good for a move back to the upside that would catch everyone in the world with their pants down. Everybody a bear right now. I see it all over X. Everybody, oh my gosh, my coins are dumping. We have to dump. This is the craziest thing that I've heard. The craziest thing that I've heard. We have to dump. We're not dumping yet, but we're going to wait until the 2nd and then we're going to dump. Why would people wait for April 2nd when we know the tariffs are coming? In order to sell out of they're going to wait for everybody else to sell and then they're going to sell. That makes no sense to me. Absolutely zero sense. So if you're planning on exiting this market, anticipating Tuesday as being a massive red day in the market, why are you still in the market? That makes no sense to me. And I don't think we're going to get that. I think this is more of like I think this is a shakeout event, and here's why. The tariffs that are coming out, we still have a few days before they do, right? Anything that the president says has moved this market like nothing else. This was the announcement of the strategic reserve back here on the daily, right? This was a daily. The strategic reserve and then the Chinese tariffs, right? Or the Chinese, Mexico, Canada tariffs. Strategic reserve, tweet on Truth Social. Tariffs, tweet on Truth Social. And then we went into this area right here. This was the crypto summit. Everybody's going to buy. Was this a crypto summit? Yeah, I think so. The crypto summit. The crypto summit was in here somewhere. Oh, the United States is going to buy Bitcoin. Oh, never mind. It's not Bitcoin. It's just been an absolute it's just been crazy with the president's Truth Social. It really has. But yeah, so that's speculating, right? I think a news event could come out at any time here. A news event could come out at any time. Do I think these tariffs are going to last a long time? That's up to you and your own speculation. They may or they may not. It could come to Tuesday and be like, oh, never mind, we're not going to do this, it's not going to be good for the economy, and I don't think we're going to, and we're going to get along with everybody. Is that likely? No, but if it happens, I promise you the squeeze to the upside will be monumental, because the amount of shorts that are in here are absolutely crazy, especially since this massive capitulation event that happened back on February 3rd. There are so many shorts sitting up here, so many shorts that you could argue they get squeezed. We have so many shorts that build up from up here, leading to this major gap in the VRVP when all the stop losses got triggered. Oh, baby, that would be a squeeze to the upside we would not soon forget. And that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin, baby. That's what I'm looking at for BTC. Continually playing this 200 MA domino game, our favorite game to play here on the Boys Crypto Show. Look at this. You even have a bit of a shoulder ahead. And your right shoulder here breaking to the upside looks very, very good for Bitcoin. A reversal here for Bitcoin, very, very likely to me out of that shoulder, head, right shoulder, and at least coming up to test this 200 MA here. You do have some high volume nodes above you. I do acknowledge that, but you are gapping up through a gap in the VR. On the micro, you're changing market structure, but you need to start creating a higher high here on the hourly. I'd like to see us break above 84.5 tonight, baby. 84.5. Are we down? What happened? Oh, okay, the stream lag. That's okay, everybody. We're back in the game. We're back in the game, baby. But that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. 200 MA dominoes throughout the night, baby. Keep a track of this 15-minute 200 MA that will continue to trend down here as we are currently beneath this. So that 15-minute 200 MA is going to get pulled down here over the course of the night, and we're looking to test that tonight. We break that. Let's zoom on back here whenever the 15-minute is curving down and we cross it. 15-minute curving down, crossed it, and we had that monumental move to the upside of about 4% for Bitcoin, 5.4%, curving down, cross. Curving down here, curving down, 15-minute 200 MA. We get above, a boom to the upside, about 5%. Anytime you have this thing curving down and you get a cross, you get a massive pump. It's just likely. Curving down, you cross, massive pump. You did have a little bit of a shakeout there. It is what it is, but that ended up being like a cup and a handle scenario. But yeah, anytime you get, it's curving down, you come up, meet it, resistance, and then you get above it, boom, blast off. Boom, blast off. This looks very, very similar. Does this not look very, very similar to what we're in right now? Coming up to test this 15-minute 200 MA, we get there, resistance, get above, and eventually flip it to support, and boom, to the upside. That would be an immaculate move for Bitcoin, and it can happen here on the weekend. Yes, weekends are not high probable times to trade, everybody. They are not high probable times to trade, but I will say this. Where did the candle close on Friday here? Where did the candle close here on Friday? This is Friday's candle. The candle closed up here at about 84.4. 84.4 on Friday. This is a CME gap that is likely to be filled. We filled the one from the week prior. This CME gap is likely to be filled. That means that on Monday or Tuesday, right? Is the market even open on Monday? Isn't it? Is there a holiday? I feel like there's a holiday. No, there's not. But whenever we get the CME gaps, they are likely to be filled in the first few days of the following week. So even if we were to fall further, we're likely to at least get that squeeze up, fill the gap before continuing further to the downside. I do like what I'm seeing here for BTC. We are beneath that 200 MA, baby. I have to be a bear beneath the 200 MA. With that being said, we are playing our favorite game here. I am macro bearish right now. I have to lean bearish. However, we're still hugging the 200 MA on the daily. We crossed the 1 minute 200 SMA. We crossed the 1, we're going to cross the 3. We crossed the 3, we're likely to test the 5. We crossed the 5, we're likely to test the 7. We crossed the 7, we're likely to test the 15. And the 15 is currently sitting up here at about $8,400. I would expect that move to come within the next few hours as we go throughout our night, ladies and gentlemen, as we go throughout our night. That's what I wanted to look at for BTC, baby. For BTC, we looked at Bitcoin dominance. We looked at the economic news, baby. We looked at the economic news, the initial jobless claims, trade deficit, employment report, unemployment rate, hourly wages, and the big one, baby, the big one, Fed Chair, our friend Jerome, coming out on Friday at 11:25 a.m. to speak about inflation in our country and whether or not they are going to turn on that money printer again as the economy desperately needs it with these tariffs. Historically, tariffs do not take place without a quantitative easing environment, and we are not in that environment right now. So we'll see if President Trump does have any kind of influence over this, man, and so far he has not. So we'll see. We will see, and we'll go into April 7th and beyond as we get closer to those dates. Drop your coins in the chat, baby. Drop your coins in the chat. What are we going over tonight? What are we looking at? What are we doing? What are we looking at? What do you guys want to see? Michaela B, thank you for diving on in your reviews. Good to see you. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys for being here tonight, baby, for being here tonight. Let's take a look at Virtuals protocol. How is Virtuals holding up? We did call a bottom for Virtuals, and that looks not good. That looks not good. All right, so we did take a trade here on Virtuals back in the back at 59 cents, which would still be in the money. We got in about 59 cents. We rode this puppy to the upside. We did call the bottom for Virtuals, baby. We called the bottom for Virtuals. Let's see where we're coming here on the from a Fibonacci perspective, from the swing low to the swing high here. We did come back to where that golden pocket. We didn't quite get to the 786 here. We did not quite get to the 786, but it is a likely area for this asset to bounce after changing market structure. Higher high, higher low, higher high. We are getting the lower low, but we are coming back to a key 618786 Fibonacci retracement area for Virtuals. Maybe a good time to pick up some Virtuals here, speculating on the asset reversing to the upside off of this 618786 bullish retracement, baby. Bullish retracement. April says, scary time. I just want to get April 2nd over with. Don't we all, April? Don't we all? April 2nd is the day. What is April 2nd? April 2nd is the day. I gotta let this cat out. I have to let this cat out, everybody. He keeps meowing. April 2nd. Get out of here, man. April 2nd is the day where all of the tariffs come to fruition, everyone. April 2nd is the day where all the tariffs that have been announced from Canada, Mexico, China, and every other country that we're slapping tariffs on, auto tariffs, everything. That is the day that all those tariffs go into effect, and the day we'll find out if other countries are going to either retaliate or these tariffs are even going to go into effect in the first place for certain countries. There's a lot of uncertainty right now, and the market hates it. The overall market hates it. Paul Tudor Jones said this the other day, nothing good happens below the daily 200 MA, and nothing good does happen below the daily 200 MA, baby. Look at this. This is not updated as of right now. Why? Because this is a chart that only trades Monday through Friday. So this candle has been the same since the close on Friday. For the NASDAQ futures, baby, NASDAQ futures, we got rejected by the 200 MA to the downside. I don't want to spark fear in anyone, but for anyone holding stocks, and in crypto too, this is the same way with crypto. Does this chart not look the same as crypto right now? Coming up to the daily 200 and rejecting below? You know, and Bitcoin looked a little stronger than the stock market, breaking above the 200, but now below it. Look at this. This does not look good. This is the line in the sand for me, baby. Zoom on out. You start breaking below these levels, and you got yourself, you have yourself a potential change in market structure. That would be bad. Even a 618786 Fibonacci retracement would scream bear market for a while, as we would come back down to this the 13,000 to 15,000 region for the NASDAQ, which would be about a 25 to 30% correction in the NASDAQ. That would wreck people's retirement accounts. That would wreck people's and everybody's portfolios that are in stocks. I'm not putting fear into you, but this is the kind of environment that we're in right now. We have to acknowledge that we are falling below the daily 200 MA. The daily 200 MA is my borderline, is my line in the sand for whether I am a bull or a bear. You're a bear on the stock market. You couldn't get back above, still a bear to the downside. Let's look at what happened the last time we crossed the 200 MA. Does this not look exactly the same? This was the beginning of the 2022 bear market, baby. The 2022 bear market, 2021 going into 2022. We fell below that daily 200 MA. We came up and what? We bearishly retested. We bearishly retested again for a third time. We could not get above the daily 200 MA, and we dumped into the bear market of 2022. That was a colossal correction from the highs of the NASDAQ, and arguably be worse now. Why would it be worse now? That was a 36% correction because there's so much more money in the there's about about 2 to 3 times more dollars in our circulating in our economy right now than there has been back here. So you could argue that the stock market during this time was still higher valued than here based off of where we are currently with inflation. So this is absolutely wild. If we break this, look, when you get below this 200, you dump. Below the 200, you dump. You get the support. We fell below, retested, and the massive gap that we have down here in the VRVP is insane. Your first stop is likely going to be here at about 18.4. At about 18.4, everybody. Let's just use this range right here. At about 18.4. Let's see. Yeah, about 18.4. That's going to be your first high volume node that can serve as support. Has served support as once, twice in the past right here. But after that, you got 1,500. And these are no joke. This is a 25% correction from where we are right now on the NASDAQ. And I don't want to say it's been a long time coming, but look at the weekly. Has it not been a long time coming? Look at this. This is insane. This was the .com bubble. This is what a stock market correction looks like. This is what a crash looks like in the stock market. Are we coming to a time like that? Can it happen? You know, and you can say, whoa, you can't see 90% correction, 82% correction in the stock market in 145 days. That was just back in 2001, not long ago. Many people have not experienced that time, including myself. 2008 was this little blip right here. Is the economy really that much bigger? Only 20 years into the future? That's crazy. A 55% correction. We have not seen anything like that. You could say, oh, but boys, crypto, COVID was the thing. COVID was a V-shaped recovery that was stimulated. This is when true money printing started in our system, when Jerome Powell turned on that money printer, and we turned it on for years. For years, we turned it on. We were giving everybody thousands of dollars. I was in the military. I didn't need that money. And this was me. I think one was 1,200, another was 1,200. We got another 800 one. Was that right? If I'm remembering correct, that's $3,200, and I didn't even need it. It was just given freely to everyone. Even if you had a job, if you were struggling, if you weren't struggling, that's crazy. I'll tell you what me and my friends did with that money. We put it right into the stock market, baby. And so did everybody else. Look at that moonshot to the upside, 2022 bear. And we continue to ride. And arguably, that money that's been put into the system from all those years ago is just starting to rear its head in real estate prices and in financial assets, in stocks. Some of these stocks are trading at a 35 to 1 price to earnings ratio. That's steep on any asset. That means you're paying 35 times what the company makes in a year per stock. That's wild. So are we overextended on the stock market? Yeah, I mean, if you think this parabola is going to continue, this parabola here is likely going to crack at some point. You can't keep going up in this trajectory until you get to a straight line. And can we get something like that? Yeah, I'm not saying that's the end for the stock market here on the NASDAQ, but we can push higher for sure. But the blow off, I think we're at a point, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, I will say this with confidence. I think we're at a point, I have to say we're at a point that I've never lost in the stock market. In the stock market, you put money in the stock market and you're below the age of 30 to 35. Wait, when 2008 all the way up to, so that was 13 years ago. 18. So if you're under the age of 33 years old and you put money in the stock market at any point in history since you've been able to invest at 18 years old, and you may have been investing before that, you made money, baby. You made money. You always made money. You did, despite you held through a correction, boom, you made money, you made money, you made money. If you bought and you held, you had those diamond hands, right? But now, is that sustainable for everybody to just keep putting money into the market and making money? Everybody makes money? No, that's not how markets work. Markets are a transfer of money from people, from one person to another, from the patient, or from the impatient to the patient. And now we're looking at an area where no one has ever really lost money in the stock market. My portfolio's up, 200% in the last few, 200. Okay, so when you start selling, when people start selling, they're going to need buyers. They're going to need buyers that assume that this is fair value. And there's a lot of people, especially the older generations, that do not see any of these prices as fair value for these stocks. And why am I talking about stocks here on this channel? I have to talk about the NQ because Bitcoin has been paired with it. Bitcoin looks exactly the same. Does Bitcoin not look exactly the same as the NQ right now? Going over the NQ, and this is on the daily. The NQ, yeah, from all the way back in February. I mean, our Bitcoin's been struggling since then, but you could argue that the NASDAQ's been struggling too. Ever since the highs here, and you have that bearish divergence to support it as well. Look at this. You have the bearish, You have the bearish divergence here on the daily. You have that swing across in price. Trading view, baby. You have this swing across in price action. That swing across in price action while you have a major swing down on the RSI. That is bearish divergence right there and led you to break this low before you could crack the high, that double top high, right? So this did lead us into coming down and testing that daily 200. You break the daily 200, you retested as support, coming back here. This could lead to a massive recession / depression, everybody. This really can. It is important. That's why the market's in super fear this week, because everyone understands and realizes that this can be the end of one of the largest stock market win streaks in history. I would argue the stock market gainer of history. Look at this parabola since 2001, baby. You ripped from 20x in 20 years. That you 20x your money in 20 years. This is insane. This is an insane run up. And a 10% healthy correction in the market. Eventually this cookie will crumble, baby. And I'm not saying that it is, but the signs are there. This is how it would start right here. This is how it starts. This is how every bear market starts. You break the 200 MA and you retest it. Back here, the bear market, you break the 200 MA, you retest it to the downside, and you could not get back above, and you did not resume until you got back above that 200 MA. This 200 MA starts curving to the downside. To me, it wouldn't be worth getting back into any stock. I don't care what kind of dollar cost average strategy there is. There wouldn't be one for me until we got back above this 200 MA and showed at least a little bit of strength, baby. At least a little bit of strength. Let's see if Bitcoin could get this bounce. I think the bounce on Bitcoin has been a little lackluster. I think on Monday, we can see a little bit of maybe hopium here in the market. We get some kind of news, some kind of... It's hard to say. I can't predict news, everybody. I can't predict news. And the markets are saying that, wow, we are in a negative, in a period of uncertainty like no other. How do I know that? Because gold is trading at an all-time high. Gold is trading at an all-time high even today, ripping higher to $3,084. This was the close on Friday. $3,084 for gold, ripping to the upside, showing a bull pennant formation right here, looking to go higher up to that $3,500 level. Can happen. It can happen very, very quickly. Gold's on a moonshot, the highest that it's ever been in history. The most valuable the asset has ever been. Why? Because this is not a way for you to make wealth. The gold has never, ever been a way to make or create wealth. Gold has only ever served as a store of wealth, a store of wealth. And this coincides perfectly with the deceleration of the purchasing power of the United States dollar. The purchasing power of the United States dollar is down 98% from when we debased back here from the gold standard, and boom, baby, to the upside, gold went. Gold has held its purchasing power throughout time. It has not changed. And the rise in gold doesn't mean gold's getting more valuable. It just represents that you need more dollars to equate to that same amount of gold, showing all of us that our dollars are just getting devalued day in after day. All right, diving on in. April hates gold. I know you don't hate gold. I know you don't hate gold. But thoughts on the global M2 money supply? Can you pull that up on here on TradingView? Oh yeah, baby. All right, so global M2 money supply represents the total amount of money that is in circulation. This will never come down. I don't think this will. No, this isn't the right chart. This is the Federal Reserve. Yeah. Hey man, I'm not well versed on the global M2 money supply. The only thing I know about the global M2 money supply is that stocks and assets. Look at this, overbought for the last forever. This is represented by this blue line right here on the chart. This represents how stocks have moved, and in correlation with Bitcoin as well, gold, everything in cohesion with the M2 money supply. I'm not well versed on that, man. I'm not well versed. If you could tell me in the chat what this has to do with everything, man, I really would like to know. I'm not gonna preach on something that I don't know anything about. All I know is that whenever people are tweeting about the M2 money supply, they're talking about gold, they're talking about stocks, they're talking about Bitcoin and everything trading in unison with this M2 money supply. If it's curving there, that's interesting. From 2023. All right, so that's what I'm looking at for the M2 money supply. Yeah, let me know, JJ. Let me know, man. April, you said gold goes on a massive tear after I flushed a bunch down the drain. April, I am sorry about that. That is not good that you flushed your gold down the drain. That is not good. Maybe you'll find it. I would check the drain trap. Maybe you have a handsome man or something that could get you some more gold. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with that. And it's not the gold, everybody. And this is the line. This is the line, gentlemen. Let me tell you guys this. You ready? This is the line. This is the line. Here we go, everybody. Sit nasty, kid. Keep you in your pants, brother. Here we go. All right. Here we go. Here you say this. You say, hey, girl, it's not the gold that I care about. It isn't anything about the gold. It's how you wear it. The only reason the gold looks good is because you're wearing it, baby. That's how I promise you, men, you will have a great night after you say those words word for word. Rewind that, play it in slow motion, not in a weird, creepy way, but study it, learn it. I'm telling you guys, that's the winner right there. That's the winner right there. All right, that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at, baby. That's what I'm looking at. Have you cashed out some coin or some coin? No, I'm still holding on to my spot holdings, man. I'm still holding on to my spot holdings. That line only works in the male birthing. Shut up, Sean Davis. What's going on, man? Welcome in, man. Welcome in. Yeah, it is. Yeah, hey, the male birthing. Let's talk about the Navy. Everything in the Navy is about the birthing. Not about the birthing. You sleep in what's called a birthing. That's like your home. So yeah, I mean, Sean Davis used to throw some lines like that at me, in the birthing and whatnot. It is what it is. I got some pictures of his feet on my phone if you guys ever want to see them. But yeah. Follow at Sean Davis at onlyfans.com, baby, for those juicy feet. I'm just playing. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at here, baby, for Bitcoin, for the M2 money supply. Over on to, where are the bubbles at? So let's look at our biggest winner and our biggest loser of the day. We have some altcoins that are popping off today. Barachain going on that massive run up the other day. And Barachain is getting a little bit of a pullback here. Why? Because the broader market is pulling back. This area has served as resistance, and you were unable to reclaim this zone here on Barachain. So from the swing low to the swing high, you did make a lower low and you made an equal high. So I would speculate here. I would speculate on the cup and handle. Why would I speculate on the cup and handle? Because it looks like a cup, baby, a cup. and you could be potentially getting this handle right here. So where would a likely long come in for bear chain from the swing low to the swing high? An area where I would look at bear chain for accumulating or speculating on a bounce would come down here to about the 618, maybe a wick below, right beneath that 4-hour 200 MA. I like that a lot for bear chain here in the near term. That cup handle coming down to the 618 could potentially come down to the 786, but that would be an area where I'd be looking for my higher low. You have a higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and the next higher low likely to come in at that 618, 786. Bullish retracement, baby, on the Fibonacci, Nobody cashed out anything? Reviews? Oh, you're talking about like my spot, man? No, I won't cash out. Most of my holdings are in Bitcoin. I don't ever really see myself selling my Bitcoin, man. That's a long-term investment for me. On the 4-hour, looking really good. That's a long-term investment for me, man. I don't think I'm going to be selling my Bitcoin. I see this thing going into the millions of dollars. Why do I see this thing going into the millions of dollars? Because I see the government printing money until the end of time. It is the only way fiat systems have ever lasted. And eventually it gets so bad, and it will. There's never been a fiat system. I don't think there's been the average life of a fiat system is what, 50 years? And we've been using it for about 100 before it collapses. Why does it collapse? Because people keep printing money. The governments keep printing money because they have to stimulate the economy to keep it going in the right direction. I think that Bitcoin is the one global money that will last over the course of time. And is it high risk? Yeah, it's cryptocurrency, man, but that's where the majority of my net worth is, because I just see that as being the next. I have my piece of the pie, man. No one can take my piece of the pie. The government can't take it. Nobody can take it. They can't freeze my account. They can't do anything. It is decentralized. I love Bitcoin, man. I love Bitcoin, and I'm not selling mine. I'm not going to give it to somebody just to have it rip in my face. I started buying Bitcoin at about $8,000, baby. At about $8,000 back in the day when I first got into the Navy, man. So that was a big deal for me. That was a big deal for me. And I don't think, I don't think I'll ever sell it. Why would I sell something that I think is continually getting more valuable? The United States is about to start accumulating, potentially. And a lot of these altcoins, I can't say that. I can't say that for Bearchain. I don't even know what Bearchain does. I can't say that for Ethereum. Ethereum, the most likely one to continue, going to the, but Ethereum's shown weakness. XRP, I don't think XRP will, not at least not until the supply comes out. 60% of the supply is out for XRP. It's going to take forever to get that entire supply into circulation. I don't know. I can't say for sure. I can't say for sure that these projects will be there. Can they? Absolutely. Will they? I don't know. But I do believe that Bitcoin will be here, and that's why I have the majority of my money in there, man. I don't want to speculate on selling out and trying to buy lower. That has always screwed me in the past. I'm just going to hold my Bitcoin, and my Bitcoin's my Bitcoin. It'll be my Bitcoin. It'll be the same amount of Bitcoin at 100 grand, at 200 grand, at $1 million, at $10 million, at 13 million, like Michael Saylor says it's going to. If it gets to Michael Saylor's prediction of $13 million, that's over 100x on your investment. An investment where you can put in $1 and make $100 out of it. To me, I'm like, you gotta get your piece of the pie, and I have mine, and I'm gonna sit on it, baby. I'm gonna sit on it. I'll ride the waves. That's what I'm looking at, baby. That's what I am looking at. Yeah, Barrett will keep falling down. Hey, yeah, it looks likely to the 618, 786 at least. Yeah, Bitcoin, baby. Bitcoin, to me, the number one investment that you can make in my mind. The government can't take it. Sounds like a challenge. Hey, the government can't take it. Government can't take it. Why? I mean, they can. Okay, they can if they storm in here. So even if the government got it, they can't crack this, baby. The Elible Titan, the hardware wallet, baby. You can't crack this. You got a 24-word safe combination that goes into this as well. That is held separately. Baby. So even if the government grabbed this, I could go get another one, get my 24 random word password, and put it on here that has never been cracked before, right? On ledgers or anything like that. And I'm sure they'll develop the technology eventually. But I'll upgrade the wallet. Come and get it, baby. Come and get it. Not happening. Absolutely not. I could get on a plane tomorrow with this in my hand, and have my money in any other country. You can't do that. You can't even come into the United States with 10 grand. You can't walk into the United States with 10 grand and not claim it. I can't with that thing. That's just a USB to hardly everybody, right? That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. All right. So that's what I'm looking at. Yeah, April says it's a challenge. Hey, yeah, it brought some 84, 85. Hey, listen. I think these are good I think these are good prices for I believe Bitcoin's going to $1 million. I don't really think it matters whether you get in at 60, 70, 80, 100, 120, 150. I think all of those are great prices for Bitcoin. To me, Bitcoin's the long-term play. The altcoins are simply used. I use the altcoins. I use them, baby. I use them. I use the altcoins to make quicker returns in the near term, and I turn that right into Bitcoin. I grab the Bitcoin because I know Bitcoin's going to be, I don't know if that altcoin's going to be here, but I use leverage gains from altcoins to put in the Bitcoin spot bags. That's how I work with my investment portfolio. That's how I work with my investment portfolio, baby. Oh my gosh, Bitcoin getting a little bit of a pump a lump here, starting to move to the upside. That looks good. We want to see Bitcoin dominance start to run to the downside. Let's see if we're getting that here. On the 1 minute, we broke the 1, we broke the 3, we broke the 5, baby. We're likely to come down, test the 7. We broke the 7, and we're likely to come down here into the 15. The alts may squeeze a little bit tonight, everybody, as everybody's so fearful. Everybody's so fearful right now. Oh yeah, and you got a nice little bearish div there. Nice little bearish div that swing down on price action while you have a swing across on price. That looks good to me. That looks really good to me, that bearish div here on the 15 minute. Do we have it on the hour? You do have severe bearish divergence here on the 1 hour time frame. On Bitcoin dominance, you have this swing up and you're making higher high, higher high, higher high, while you're making lower high, lower high, lower high here on the RSI indicator, suggesting to me that we're going to break this 6189 level, which doesn't seem like much, but when you're talking about Bitcoin, as big as the asset is, a $2 trillion behemoth, whenever you're getting a fraction of a percent moving on into altcoins, some of which only have $1 million market cap, can be meteoric for whatever coin you are holding. So that's what I'd be looking at here throughout the rest of the night, and we're looking at the hourly here on the Bitcoin dominance chart, So that's what I'm looking at, baby. Diving on into the chat here. Shout out to everybody who's just jumping on in. Greatly appreciate each and every single one of you for diving on in here and spending your Saturday night with me, baby. Everybody else out there doing the whip nay nay, and we're in here getting ready for the week ahead, But they cannot take my ledger code. Yeah, they can't take your ledger. You can't take your ledger. They can't take your ledger code, JJ. They can't. Yeah, so I think these are great prices for Bitcoin. I really do. What can we discuss the Bitcoin will downtrend to what price range? I think that what's really in everybody's mind. You want to look at the bearish scenario for Bitcoin? Absolutely. Whenever you're looking at the bullish, I think these are great prices for Bitcoin. I'm going to say that right now. Are they going to be the best prices for Bitcoin? I have no idea. Anything can happen here in trading. But yeah, let's look at it, baby. Let's look at it. So let's go back to the last time we consolidated. Does this range not look very similar to this one right here? It does to me. If you overlapped it, I wish I could do that. If I could overlap this, look at this. We had the double top here, double top. We nuked down. We had a little bit of a reversal up, nuked down, reversal up, had that massive capitulation to the downside. That represents right here. We had a push up. Are we going to get a little bit of a dip? That could be it looks very, very similar to me. Now, what would I be looking at here? So from the swing low here, this is what I looked at here when I was talking about on my video, when I was talking about, is this the bottom? When will I think the bottom is in? Well, I have to speculate on the best prices being in between this golden pocket, 618-786, and right here from the swing high to the swing, from the swing low to the swing high, we did get a golden pocket, 618-786 retracement, probably to the 706 right there in the middle line that divides the 618 and the 786. Upwards crypto, that was the last range, man. That was the last range I want to hear about now. I do too, man. I do too. So here's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin. If Bitcoin is still going to follow this macro higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low structure, then the most likely place, not saying that it's not in already, because it could be. That's why I'm saying I think these prices are good for Bitcoin. And if you're doing like, who did this? Who did 84, 83, 82, and then stopped? Yeah, if you layer on in down, I'll buy some here, I'll buy some here, I'll buy some here, I'll buy some here, and then you get the reversal to the upside, you'll be very, very happy that you did. So even if you bought $1,000 or $100 or $10, whatever you can afford a Bitcoin, every time we drop a couple $1,000, eventually you're going to get that reversal, baby, and you're going to be averaging in. Your average price is going to fall. That's what you need to care about for Bitcoin. Your average price, baby, your average price. There are people that are underwater on Bitcoin that were getting it up here over $100,000. There are people that are underwater, but for the majority of people that have ever invested in Bitcoin over the course of their lives, that dollar cost average, if you just bought $10 of Bitcoin every week for the past 10 years, you are in the big money, baby. You are in the big money. But here we are looking for the next higher low now if this market structure is to continue. So we could take our Fibonacci and start pulling it from our reactionary zones here. And you did have a golden pocket retrace from this reaction prior to the run-up after President Donald Trump got into office here back on November 6th, baby. Back on November, or was it November 8th? November 6th, yeah. Oh, Tuesday was election night, and then, yeah, the results started coming in, and everybody got bullish on the Trump news. Now, this 786 does not have to hold. If this reaction from this pull does not hold, I would pull down here, and honestly, I wouldn't pull here. I would pull all the way to the wick right here. This zone right here, from here, this is a 786 now. If you pull it all the way down here, it turns into the 618, right? Does that make sense? The 618 sitting at about $72,000. And I think this is the most likely zone. Look at the high volume nodes you have here to support you. Just like here, when the high volume node, you lost a high volume node, you're gapping down in the VRVP, highly likely to get stopped somewhere by this trough, which you didn't even get to yet. Likely to get stopped in somewhere down here. This is the most likely area for me, for Bitcoin to get a bounce, that higher low to be created before reversing the upside. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. Until what? Until a lower low gets created. Until a lower low gets created. When would a lower low get created? Whenever we crack this level down here at about 48,000. Will we do that? I have no idea. I'll be the first one to tell you. And I'll be honest with you and telling you guys, I don't think we're going down there. But could we? Absolutely. We get some kind of, this tariff war goes on for a couple of years. We could see lower prices on Bitcoin. You think people thought that Bitcoin would go back to $10,000 or $18,000 down here when we were at 60K? No one thought that. No one thought. Everybody was calling for 100K right here. Oh, we're going to break the all-time high. And it was a swing failure pattern, dropped down to $18,000. Devastating. So yes, I'll be the first one to tell you we can go lower here on Bitcoin here. We can go lower. So we make that lower high. If we did make that lower high or lower low, that's where I would be speculating on the market switching. Now, when would I get out of the market? Would I get out down here? No, because it's unlikely that we just start nuking like never before. It's unlikely that we just do this. Unlikely. Very unlikely. In order to change market structure, you need to create a lower low, and then what? A lower high. Where is that lower high? Oh! Where is that lower high likely to come in, ladies and gentlemen? Where is this lower high likely to come in? Well, all of us know that we pull our 618, 786, baby. So we break this $49,000 level, and we fail the double bottom right here and reverse to the upside. I would get out of the market, and this would be my personal investing strategy. I would be getting out of this market up here at around the 618, around that $83,000 level. I would be cutting it. I would be cutting it. And is that about where we are right now? Absolutely. But I think I have to assume, because we're still in this market structure, we're making a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. And I think we can get that higher low here going on into the next few days, especially if we have some tariff resolution. But if we do not, and we create that lower low, then the lower high area is where I would be speculating on getting out of the market, especially if this daily 200 MA keeps coming up and curving. We get this massive drop, 200 MA starts curving and meets at the 618. That's where I'd be out. I'd have to be out, and I'd have to wait for a substantial break above the 200 MA and some consolidation above before I got back into the market. That's just how I am handling this market, and when I am planning on getting out, if I am planning on getting out. And that'd be getting out of Bitcoin as a whole too. That'd be getting out of Bitcoin as a whole, because I'm not willing to ride this puppy all the way to the downside. I would sell a portion of my Bitcoin. I would not sell all my Bitcoin, but I would sell a portion of my Bitcoin at that lower high state just to de-risk in the event that I could get some cheaper Bitcoin and just hold cash on the side. Because if that were to happen, the entire stock market would be in shambles. It would be a complete disaster for honestly everybody, anybody and everybody that's invested in anything besides gold and silver. Speaking of silver is on a rampage, looking to do something very, very special. Silver looks to go on the breakout and reclaim the highs. Silver looks like it wants to go and reclaim the highs here. It's getting very, very close. The last time we were this high on prices in silver was back here in this 2011, 2012 when we had that silver craze, baby. The silver craze. Now, you could pull your fib. You could pull your Fibonacci from the swing high to the swing low and say, hey, we're coming up to the 618, 786 bearish Fibonacci, boys crypto. That's where I'd be looking to open up shorts. And you can do that. Absolutely. But when people get scared, if we do have a massive scare in the market, right? if we do have a massive scare in the market, people are going to go to assets that they could grab on and hold and know that they could sell for money in the event that they needed to, right? They're not going to hold on to dollars. They're going to hold on to things that they know are going to contain or store their purchasing power, like gold, like silver, like platinum, like things like that there's a scarce amount on the earth, right? That they know that corresponds to the money supply of the world. And as that increases, the value of that asset increases based on its scarce supply. And that's the idea behind Bitcoin, but it's still a very, very new asset. All right, diving on into the chat, everybody. Diving on into the chat. Let's dive on in. Can't take your ledger code reviews. JJ, I appreciate you, man. The downtrend reviews, yeah, that's what I'm looking at for a downtrend if it is to continue. It is, yeah, reviews, I agree with you, man. They do look like traps, and the pumps are lackluster. These pumps have been really lackluster. We are getting a little bit of a greenie here. On, and don't get too excited. We're not going to get excited here on the Boys Crypto community out of a 4-hour candle or a daily candle that looks like this when we just had disgusting nukage to the downside. This area of support is holding up. I am going to mark that level on my chart. Served as support. Support. Currently serving as support. Does not look like that the bears are able to break that zone as of right now. So we'll see how that goes. We'll see if that was just a deviation below a range here that we are forming, and maybe we could get back above that daily 200 MA. We will have to see. With that being said, I am speculating on further price action to the upside. Why? Because we have this CME gap here sitting at about $1,000 higher. So it is likely throughout the course of the night and going into Monday that we do touch that $84,000 level. There's only been a few instances in Bitcoin's history, like 2 or 3 times in history, that those CME gaps have not filled and still remain unfilled to this day. I think one's down at like $8,000 and another one's at like 19 or something like that. I'll have to go back and check. But that is what this is looking at, and we still cannot ignore. We cannot ignore that we still have this daily bullish divergence here that has yet to play out. We have that swing low on price action while we have a swing high or a higher high being created on the RSI while a lower high is being created on price action. This is bullish divergence that tells us we are likely to crack the $95,000 level before we crack this 76K level. That is likely. That is likely based off of that bullish divergence, and we could see this come to fruition this week. We get above this high volume node here at about 84.3, baby. We get that CME gap closure, and I love when CMEs are above us, baby. That just screams that we're going to pump going into Monday, or at least Monday, the price action will be at that point. I love what I'm seeing here. We get that squeeze to the upside, and then you have what? The gap in the VRVP, and the only thing you have standing in your way is the daily 200. We're playing 200 MA dominoes on the night, everybody. Looking at this 15 to be tested next, about $600 above where we currently stand, baby, where we currently stand. So, yes, that's what I'm looking at. Let's see, reviews as a content suggestion, man. Make a video where your opinion it will be always, on about where in your opinion it will be. Hey, yeah, not financial advice. Hey, I appreciate your reviews. I appreciate you, man. Yeah, I'll take that into consideration. I'll have to go back and look at my other videos. I did a video that said why the top is not in, and I go over my bullish and bearish scenarios for Bitcoin and where I think the most likely bounce zones are. That was one of my videos that I made about 2 weeks ago, and it still stands to this day. It has not changed at all, man. It has not changed at all. I think I made it around here when Bitcoin was dumping massively where the likely bounce zone would be. I still think if we go lower, those bounce stones are still intact. It's about the same thing as what I just showed you, man. So check out that video, man. Let me know what you think. Yeah, we can downtrend below 76K. That's for sure. That golden pocket doesn't start till 72. Very high exposure click reviews. Yeah. Hey, man, I may consider that. Look, but yeah, YouTube's tough with the algorithm and everything, getting everybody, because I know everybody and their mom, Bitcoin dump, Bitcoin crypto disaster, crypto dumping, oh, XRP, why is my XRP not at $100 yet? I know the trending things on Twitter or on YouTube, it's insane, man. Trying to get I don't want to say get those clicks. I'm not in it for the clicks. I'm just here showing you guys what I'm doing every single day. And I greatly appreciate each and every one of you diving on in here with me day in and day out, getting after it and getting on the grind. I did just kind of see this as symmetrical triangle that may be forming here for BTC. It's a potential, not confirmed yet. Not confirmed at all in any way, shape, or form. Why is it not confirmed? We only have 2 touches here on the bottom trend line. Something that I'm going to keep on the chart here just going on into the weekend, everybody. Hey, this is a weekend video, everybody. We are going to cut this a little little shorter today, everybody. Thank you. Thank you for diving on in here with me tonight. The name of the game throughout the night, if you are trading, and again, I don't recommend it on the weekend, but if you are trading, we are tracking the 200 MA dominoes that are currently playing out right now on the Bitcoin chart. We are above the 7. We are ping-ponging in between the 7, which will be your support until it's not, and the 15, which will be your resistance until it's not. So this zone in between 83.9 and 82.9, this is going to be your hot zone of the night, everybody. This is your hot zone. A break above the 15 would lead to massive squeeze potential. Why? Because of the severity of this dump over the past few days, these moving averages are spaced out so far apart. You break above the 15, your next moving average to test is all the way up here at about 85.5, a $2,500 move. Once you break $84,000, that's what I'm looking at, baby. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I like in going into the night. I really like this 200 MA dominoes play going out. We may get some kind of flag, some consolidation. Take a breath, take a break. Hey, it is Saturday night. Enjoy yourselves. Be with your family. Be with your loved ones. Try to get your mind off the chart. I'm going to do the same thing, everybody. I'm going to be doing the same thing, taking a breather. If you guys want to, hey, let me show you guys something cool. Let me show you guys something cool. Over here on YouTube, and I know YouTube doesn't like when I pull up YouTube on my stream. But you could type in this. This is one of my favorite channels just to look at. It does have these little indicators on there. I mean, I would take them with a grain of salt, but it's the live Bitcoin and Ethereum 15-minute signals. It has a little bit of a, one of those beats, it's just cool to have it there. So you have this one, and you could also do, let me show you guys something that's really cool. You can see liquidations right here on this one on Bitcoin Live chart liquidation watch. Oh my gosh, ads. But yeah, there's a nice little chat here on the side that you can talk into. I'm a member in here, so any of you guys that want to, send something cool, I advertise my channel in here sometime. I advertise my channel in here sometimes, and the bot will come up and pick it up and send it. So yeah, you hit skip, and then you can see all the liquidations here, baby. All the liquidations and these cool sound effects whenever they're pinging around. Cool sound effects. You can see, hey, this bull got liquidated 19.7K. This bear got liquidated at 38K. This bull got liquidated 41K. And you can see the exchange they got liquidated on and the assets in real time. So if you're doing the dishes right, or you're doing whatever, if you're doing your nightly worship at your lady's feet, when you bow down, you kiss your feet, 10 minutes a day, and you wash them and everything when they come in the door, and all that kind of stuff. See, there's the link bot coming on up with the channel there, baby, with the channel there. But you can see all the liquidations and all the orders that are coming in real time. It's cool. It's something that I like. It has the fear and greed index up here, and it has the 15-minute candles down here, and then the live 10-second chart up here. Something I like to have on throughout the night if I'm doing something in the background, and you'll hear it. You'll hear the pinging going around. So when the volume starts picking up tomorrow on Sunday night, you'll hear ping, 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 ping. And then if you're away from your computer, you could be like, oh, something's happening. And you could run and you could see what's going on if you're getting a massive pump or a massive dump to the downside. So those are just two channels, two things that I want to keep you guys on, keep on y'all's radar, baby. Keep on y'all's radar. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, everybody. Last few comments. Hope it will not hit 62K though, but I'm buying with everything I have. I hit 62K. Reviews, not financial advice, brother. But yeah, hey, that is a likely bounce zone. It's a likely bounce zone if this bull market is to continue. To sell the house for that price, you sell the house, brother. I just sold the house. We've been going on a buying spree. It's been crazy. All right, market will pump 1st of April, and this whole dump will be on April Fools. Yeah, hey, it could definitely happen, JJ. I appreciate you jumping on in from the UK, man. You're an absolute legend. I appreciate you. Yeah, check those vids on YouTube reviews. So let me know what you think, man. Let me know what you think. And I am checking out DaVinci Resolve. I like it. I'm playing around with it, and I am liking what I'm seeing. So I may switch over to that platform. Thank you for that suggestion, man. I greatly appreciate you. The Bitcoin live chart, you're always on their reviews. Yeah, man, you'll see me going on in there. Sometimes, like if people say something ridiculous, I'll throw a rant in there or whatever. But it's kind of like a campfire, if you will, like a campfire. Everybody invested in Bitcoin, and everybody's just hanging back. It's a 10-second chart, so nobody. I like to believe that nobody trades based off that chart. The 10-second chart is insane, but Yeah, you have that conversation, that live chart that you can just talk with people, get their ideas, opinions. Some people are kind of, it's a bunch of teenagers on there. Maybe, I don't know, but some people are rude, but others are very nice and helpful and constructive. So yeah, you'll see me in there. You'll see me in there, throughout the night. Perhaps like if I'm just chilling, I'll probably just be chilling here, going over some of the macroeconomic news. I got to go over the personal spending report and the consumer confidence report yet, so I have not done that, but I will be diving on into that. I will keep up to date with you guys on X. Stick up to date with me on at Boys Crypto 102 on X, everybody. We will keep you updated on there throughout the night. Until then, I will see you guys tomorrow. Boys Crypto is out, baby. We are out. Good night, everybody, and have a blessed evening.